everyone, welcome back to another exciting episode of Attack Productions. Today, I'm back up joined again by Jimmy and Jake.
Sure. What's going on, y'all?
And today's matchup is, well, it's Jimmy versus Jake in our finals. Jimmy has brought Gogeta. We got him on camera finally. And Jake has playing the Great Ape Goku. I think I saw someone calling it Tapku. I don't know what it's being called, but it's Yellow Starter Coup.
Yellow Kid. Yeah, Yellow Starter Coup. I don't know. Yellow Kid Coup. Yellow Apes.
Something.
Yeah.
I saw Kid Coup reboot the other day, and I got super hyped because I thought it was the Black Kid Coup.
But it was this one.
So I'm just going to call this Disappointment Coup because every time I see this leader, I get disappointed.
Fair enough. Keep in mind there's buttons down below, and in place put comments. Let us know what's going on. And let's get into today's matchup.
So speaking of disappointment, this was my third time playing Kid Coup at this particular event. It's a very popular deck at our locals.
We had so many people break it.
Yeah, it's kind of like Cell in that way where they release a product that's almost just a solid deck out of the box. You just need to add a few things, and it's actually like competitive, and people will build it, especially people who are building on a budget.
Yeah, certainly. Yeah, like the deck out of the box is like fairly solid, like you said. You do see stuff like Riposte and the energy there. I think Riposte is like fairly cheap now compared to what it was.
Oh yeah, I think they're down.
They're still
substantially from what they were.
I think they're still running between 20 and 30.
You know what? I'm gonna do a live look right now.
I think I checked earlier. I think the Volume 2 ones are 25, and I think I saw the Champion ones that you got, Jake, are 30, and then the Gold one you got special when you got 9th place at TCG Con, I think are still running about 45, 50.
Yeah. There's a version of it that's about $18, but yeah, everything else you're saying is pretty accurate. The version in my is $30.
Now, real quick here, I do want to talk. You did counterplay the Goku coming in. He does, by his own skill, rest himself. But in all honesty, I think putting the blocker out there is kind of a smart move. One of the strategies to playing against this particular Gogeta deck is keep a high life total so that when the big boy comes down, you could just eat the big boy's attack and not really have to worry about anything. So throwing out a blocker like this, while it didn't tap the card by its own effect, because the card is tapped anyway, just putting a solid blocker on build is really nice.
Yeah, overall, that was kind of my plan here, is to just have something on the table, because I know like what an aggressive like list that Gogeta can be, and honestly, it's affecting every decision I'm making as I'm playing throughout this game. I'm trying to balance between playing my own game plan and then doing something to try and hold back on combo power, because I mean, the turn 4 that you're capable of producing with that deck is just really oppressive, and without like enough contingencies or like an overall strategy, I don't really have much to do like to stop it. I don't know why I put a card in my life right there. Did you see that?
I think you bumped the cards.
Yeah.
You just refixed it. You went down to 6 when you awakened.
Okay. I was like, did I just put a card in my life? What the hell?
Man, Jake out here cheating and catching himself. Damn.
Talk about a self-report.
Usually we gotta wait till the comments to call us out for cheating.
I know, right? But overall, I'm just not really sure what to do against you.
So, like I said, this was my third time playing this deck this night. And also, this was actually like kind of a smart play here too. You threw this out here and you called 4-drop Vegeta GT. Which I really didn't plan on playing a Vegeta, but as soon as you said it, I was like, damn, like that would have been actually a really good play on my part to slam the 20k crit Vegeta, neg out one of your blockers, and then, now you have to deal with an attack instead of just turning one of your cards sideways to say otherwise.
Exactly. And overall, I'd much rather take double strike damage than crit damage, just because I need that combo power in my hand for your push later in the game. So calling, like, obviously playing a Mechikabura like this tells you I have one ready for turn 4 as well.
Mm-hmm.
But just going ahead and calling that Vegeta just kind of keeps me where I'm at as far as card advantage goes, and lets me apply a little bit of pressure as well.
Mm-hmm.
And as a reminder, you charged a Goku and then you played a Goku on your first turn. It's a 50-50 call. You may not have had a Vegeta and a Goku in hand to play on the leader swing, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so it's a 50-50 call, but still, like, it was disruptive enough to make me think, which is kind of a hard thing to do against a Gogeta player, is making the Gogeta player think, because the deck is so straightforward and you just slam shit for free, and if it gets countered, so what? You didn't spend anything on it. And, like, the Gogeta is a deck where every single card gives you so much advantage, and if you get countered in that, it's one card out of your hand. Where on the other end, you could be plussing 3 off of a card, which is kind of absurd when you really think about it. And I think that's where Gogeta's power really comes from, is how much advantage you get off of every single card in your deck. And you don't really lose advantage doing anything. Every combo is going to put more cards into your hand. At minimum, it's replacing itself. Every play is giving you another card in your hand or a buff in some other way. Every energy is either removing one of your opponent's cards, putting another card in your hand, putting a double striker or a critical on field. Like, the deck just like hemorrhages value in your favor. And I've yet to play against a Gogeta list, but I'm sure, Jake, you can attest to playing against this and how it just feels like no matter what you do, you're just getting bombarded.
Yeah, it really feels like, at least with yellow, there really isn't a solid play line to take. They do build so much card advantage off of just playing their game normally that if you go really aggressive at the leader and give them 4 or 5 cards out of their life into their hand, they're gonna come at you on turn 4 or maybe even earlier with like a 14 or 15 card hand and a board already extant on the table. So you're just gonna die to that, barring some kind of like Nimbus effect or something.
Mm.
And also, so you can't really play like the grindy advantage game. And then, like what I'm doing here is just obviously I'm drawing as many cards as I can to turn to like dig for some type of more reliable answer than Mechikabura, because the other prong of pressure in this deck is just that 8-drop is so powerful and so game warping that it makes it difficult to focus on what you're trying to do, because you know that if you go too heavily into countering that play line, that they can start playing things like Rush Attack Vegeta, or just really, frankly, combo heavy on their leader swings and kill you that way.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a deck that feels like there isn't a good, solid way to play against it. And the only real chance you have to like win some type of advantage situation with it is if it just breaks out and you just attack the Unisons or whatever that it plays and starve it on cards on hand.
Taking out the Unison was very smart, because the Unison is one of the deck's big advantage pieces. And it also answered one of the problems you may have if you Mechikabura me on going into turn 4. My Unison and then my battle cards that are not the 8-drop become my main form of killing you. So getting rid of the Unison is a huge hit in both this turn and the kill turn. While you didn't attack my life down and get me into a spot where you could kill me on a clapback, I do think that it was a really, really smart play.
Yeah. Looking back at this game, I'm just kind of questioning my overall decision making in general, but it's difficult to deal with what your opponent does on the way to turn 4 without playing something rather than just holding everything back.
Mhm.
But yeah, this is the black red Gogeta here.
Mhm.
Yeah, that was really solid. Being able to rip a card out of my hand and then just kill 2 cards on my board. Just again, just another layer of pressure that this deck has.
Yeah, like I really don't think this deck should have access to this card. Like it's I think the only bad thing about it is if your opponent does drop Mecha Gabora and call 8 drop, this. I think this is a Gogeta Xeno
Yeah,
though,
it is.
so
So it gets around
it would get around that. But like I think the only bad thing about it is that it's an 8 drop and that it could get hit with something like the Vegeta Unison that I'm forgetting the name of, Unison of Fury. Like this card is just 3 energy, remove 2 cards, remove a card from opponent's hand, and Sensu Bean until the end of the next turn. Like for 3 energy, you're not getting much more value out of a card.
Oh yeah, and speaking of Unison of Fury, that's really one of the better ways to answer this deck that exists in yellow, and I'm just not finding any.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, when we were sitting down and you were siding in, the 2 things that were going through my head were Mecha Gabora and Unison of Fury. I knew that I was probably going to have to play around one or both of those. And I seen Mecha Gabora go down, so I knew that I was dealing with Meki. And the fact that you had not put Unison of Fury out by this time made me feel a little hopeful that you had not sided that in. Or even sideboarded it in the first place. But I know you're a better player than that. So I was just hoping that I could close out the game before you see that.
And here normally would be an insanely solid turn for me to just try and kill you. You're completely tapped up. I'm at 4 active energy and a decent sized hand. But the fact that you're at 6 life really keeps me from going in, especially I think you have like 10 or 12 cards in your hand at this point.
Mm-hmm.
So like I don't know. I even looking back at this footage, I'm struggling to see a different play line where I could have affected my position up to this stage of the game, just relying on Meki Kabura.
Yeah, and when that come down, I was I was a little heartbroken because I did have I had like the turn, like the explosive turn that Gogeta can pull off in hand, and having to wait a turn for that felt kind of bad. But a play line that I really like with Gogeta, I see a lot of Gogeta players awakening on their turn 2 or awakening as fast as possible. I like waiting until the turn 3 to drop the Black Red Gogeta, then awaken, get my 1 energy back, and save that energy for a Violent Ray. Because with the Black Red on field, or on the turn that you play it, you get the plus 5k, and when you opponent can't attack with 20ks, it forces them to combo out to try to deal damage to you, or they just pass their turn without pressuring you in hopes that they can keep the combo power in hand to deal with the big 8 drop. So that's just one of the nasty plays that this deck can make for essentially free. Like, what else are you going to do with that energy? All of your other stuff is free. Just go ahead and tap 3. Like, who cares?
Yeah. Especially at that point, you've got a decent hand size, so you'd be hard pressed to find a deck that could kill you through that, even if you're tapped up.
Another thing, I think a lot of Gogeta players are really missing out on how powerful the lower end of this deck is. I mean, you're seeing the TP promo Goten, which is a fantastic card, but the cycle that you can get with these 20k Goku and Vegetas is kind of nasty. if I had not played the Goten there, I would have probably tried to push for the double strike crit on my leader swing by comboing off the Goku and Vegeta, and it's basically just a built-in Champa and the built-in Golden Frieza or the Universe 7 Frieza. You don't have to throw those in the deck because it's already built into the archetype itself. Which, if you know me, every deck I build has to have a Champa in it, and this is one that doesn't because it's on that Goku right there.
So, kind of want to go over this real quick. Playing Pan kind of towards the end of the turn, he saw one energy which could reestablish another double striker, I think. Unless there's a limit one, I can't remember.
It's limit one on those plays.
Okay. How much cards were in your hand then, Jake? To make you feel like you had to do this?
6.
Okay.
5 or 6. I'm pretty low at this point. Basically, I just kind of wanted to get Pan on the table as soon as there was enough battle cards where I could play her for free.
The Pan play was huge because I did have the Secret Rare Vegito in hand, which I was just trying to peck you down, get a few cards out of your hand, so when he comes down, it was pretty much a guaranteed win. And then Pan coming down saying I can't attack with battle cards was a little upsetting. I did consider just going ahead and dropping it just so I could like rip your next play while also buffing my leader by 10k for the turn, but I felt safe at 6 life and Violent Ray. I didn't feel like you could pressure me enough within your next turn for that to be a particularly good play. And this was making me wish that I did, because now I can't even attack with it.
Yeah.
Seeing this guy light was really rough on your end.
Yeah. Being okay, like looking back on this turn, I'm kind of underneath Violent Rays here. So maybe I would have been better off attacking with this Unison and maybe switching a different card to rest mode, and then maybe, I don't know, because I wanted the blocker. I don't really know what a better route for this turn would have been. Maybe don't swing with Meki Kabura. Maybe go ahead and commit to lead swing. But just a difficult sequence to play through altogether. The Goten was really strong as well. I didn't expect that to come down.
Yeah, that Goten is an absolute powerhouse. I currently have it as a 1 of in the list. I'm not certain if I'm going to go up on them because he is kind of cloggy in turns or games where I don't want to play him. Here I catch that I tap 1 because I was debating on playing the 1-drop Videl, and decided that SSB Vegeta is just a better card overall.
Yeah.
Which this card is just so dumb. Remove 2 cards, get 2 free combos, essentially 2 free Z energy, and then being able to activate main to restand. Like, it's just really strong.
It's a lot of good cards, especially like, and you talked about in your profile, you talked about before, where in a case like this, Gogeta is not really needed when you can bring out these low cost cards. Well, technically 4 drops, but they initially are 1 energy, and just be able to swing. And Jake did have to tap himself out to kind of keep you from playing the Gogeta, but unfortunately put him into that space where it's like, which way was better?
Mm-hmm. Like, Gogeta can like flick the switch into playing pretty much like starter Pan. Kind of echoes of that. If the big boss monster route is not applicable, which is probably the strongest suit of the deck, is that it can just flick the switch anytime it wants.
So, with that being said, thank you for tuning in. Keep in mind those buttons down below on the screen, and yada yada yada. Jake, would you lead us out?
Yeah. Remember to read your cards, know your plays, let us make the mistakes so that you don't have to, and fluff out.